Hi, my name's Emma Hofmeister, and my theory is self-perception theory. I am an undergraduate at the University of Idaho within the Department of Psychology and Communication, in which I am double majoring. Everything within this presentation is based off of peer-reviewed research and our textbook. I selected self-perception theory due to its simplicity of history being the cause for behavior and beliefs. In this way, it allows the external cues of social learning to be the main influence of self-perception. So the author of this theory was Daryl J. Bem, who published it in 1967. The journal was called Self-Perception: An Alternative Interpretation of Cognitive Dissonance Phenomena. The goals within this theory is that people observe themselves as if they observe others. For instance, if a person can make a self-descriptive statement such as, "I guess I like chocolate, I eat it all the time," they can make that same conclusion about others based off of observation. Thus, a person's attitude is based on the available cues outside of the observer. The reaction to these cues occurs from taught history. History is built-up experiences by being taught. This implies that past experiences are considered true for a person's self-observed behavior. Then, a person may be taught how to behave or believe a concept through observations of others or individuals through trial and error. Why the theory was created? Self-perception theory is an alternative to dissonance theory. Dissonance theorists claim that behavior is closed solely to internal judgmental interpretation. The alternative theory evolved because of its simplicity and inclusion of influences of external cues. It also accounts for the influence of history on decision making. This addresses the phenomena of self-perception theory within the attitudes of beliefs being omitted under circumstances from the past. The reason for this distinction is because the observer and observed may be interchangeable. This is also known as using self-reflection or observations of others to make behavioral decisions and beliefs. So, the theory's details. The underlying assumptions of self-perception theory is that it aligns with current stimuli. As a society, we select proper responses to events as they occur. For instance, the proper response to burning ourselves on a cookie sheet would be to say, "Ow." Well, this response occurs from an individual's history training. A person is taught that the sound "ow" connects to pain. History training starts within a person's childhood, in which they learn social standards. In this case, the standard would be to wear an oven mitt before taking an item out of the oven. By being socially trained to react, people emphasize opinions. Thus, self-judgments are based on community training. The further explanation of this example is to think of a time when you were accidentally hurt, when you were alone, and also when you were in the company of another person. Depending on the person's reaction to the stimuli alone, will have an impact on one's self-belief and behavior over a reaction in front of others. For instance, when I burnt myself on a cooking sheet a few weeks ago, I said "ow" and proceeded to make dinner. The reaction my roommate had, however, was she told me that it was bad and I needed to run cold water over it now. This had me panic and believe that I must be hurt. This concluded Bem's concept that a training community may use self-descriptive statements from current stimuli to determine their counterpart's internal state. So this cohesively links to the theory. I give a specific example of how social interaction is a product of self-perception. However, it is good to keep in mind that responses differ based on controlling variables. The main variable that self-perception theory follows is that history is based off of built experiences, which causes behaviors and beliefs. To show testability, Bem explained how the dissonance theory was tested as a forced compliance study, which leads participants to engage in behavior that would imply support to provide certain attitudes or beliefs. He explained that the independent variable of the compensation was affected by the variable of participants, in which they knew that the test that they were about to conduct would be boring. This led him to reconstructing the same study with the same compensation, yet concluding an alternative explanation. He used the self-descriptive attitude statement from a person's belief or attitude as a dependable variable. So, within relation to the course, BEM's scope for the research was to test if an attitude statement affected radical behavioralism. So, radical behavioralism is observations of responses to current stimuli in terms of the individual's past training history. In this way, the study was based on empirical generalization, which is an objective study. In general, empirical generalizations may either be quantitative or qualitative because it finds the pattern or regularity that repeats over different circumstances from symbolic or subjective findings. In this case, however, the correlative measures were used, therefore there was a quantitative study. The study wanted to find if compensation was affected by long or short-term communication, in which they did find a correlation. The implementation of behavioral based off of the history with communication experiences makes self-perception theory similar to the tradition we learned in class called socio-cultural tradition. This is because language structures are a perception of reality. These realities may be produced, maintained, repaired, and transformed. The tradition also discusses how person in conversation is constructed um, with two people or more through social worlds. In the application of the self-perception theory, by being socially taught by others and through self-observation, we are combining these worlds. So, an article analysis. I decided to use an article from Chang-Ai Tang. He published this in 2018, and the article's name is Managing Gamer Relationships to Enhance Online Gamer Loyalty, the Perspectives of Social Capital Theory and Self-Perception Theory. I chose this article because it puts self-perception theory into the context of digital media. The main goals of the article were to test underlying mechanisms of gamer behavior and relationships to promote loyalty. The use of self-perception within the theory supports the reasons why gamers conduct behaviors and beliefs. The paper also puts the theory into context of intention. Within the context of the journal, the intention is repeatedly playing a game to show loyalty. So the results and conclusion of the article. Within the article, self-perception theory, gamers observe themselves, which implies that gamers enjoy gaming. The enjoyment of gaming is linked to habits and loyalty. By having loyalty, a person is more likely to engage in gaming communication, such as texting friends about updates, uploading content to Twitch streams, inviting people over to play Mario Kart. There's a lot of examples. They also found a positive link between relationship length and gaming habits. This mechanism was hypothesized from the thought that a relationship length was defined by its duration, customer tenure, and retention, or the history of the gamer-game relationship. The years that a person develops close friendships online would be considered a shared history. If a person were to switch to another game, however, they would be more than likely to lose their built friendship. The lost friendship is known as relational switching cost. The behavior may also have a relationship with gaming intention. The type of intention may also cause an effect on the relational switching costs. An example of this is when a new Xbox or sequence of games is produced. The positive experience of the gamer's loyalty caused them to want to invest further within their behaviors. For instance, think of a time when you have had a friend who had said something along the lines of, "Oh, I only play Call of Duty." "Oh, Mario Kart is the best character in Mario Kart." Or "I can't wait until the new Xbox is going to come out." So, article implications and how it connects to the original theory. Both journals address how history influences relationship strength. It addresses this by explaining how relational costs are impacted by shared history. Another supporting point is that experiences conduct behavior. If the user observes an increased usage, then the gaming behavior is considered natural to them. If the user observes a higher frequency, then the gaming behavior becomes automatic. Gamers also form habits, or as I like to call them, positive pattern reinforcement. For instance, if a person consistently finds a technique that guarantees a victory, they are more likely to use that behavior due to it being used in a natural and automatic nature within their behavioral mechanisms. Finally, observations of own behavior allows evaluation of personal belief. Self-perception theory implies that the gamer enjoys gaming. Where the theory fails to connect is that the original theory does not explain how intention impacts behavior and belief. Yes, morals and ethics are social standards that may be taught to someone. However, a person's true intentions may only be accurately observed privately. Future research would be beneficial for this theory. In general, the theory could use some updating to be more modern within technological context. Tang introduced how addiction may affect intentions and relational cost. Addiction is a primary example of a repeating behavior, which can be argued as being a person's history. They may also have a self-perception of needing that addiction. Future research in the reasons for history would pinpoint the answers for a person's intentions within their behaviors. So, in conclusion, the self-perception theory comes from the mechanism that people observe themselves as they would observe others. This indicates that both an individual and an outside observer's beliefs and attitude statements are taught from socializing cues and behaviors. Finally, an individual's experience accounts for taught history. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a good rest of your day.